Welcome to Chefs of the River Region, a fascinating look at the cuisine of some of Southern Illinois' most notable chefs. Bill Ferris of Bistro 51, Nick Ryan of the Lick Creek General Store, Lasse Sorensen of Tom's Place, and Lorenzo Crostado join host Amy Shaw to share their backroom cooking secrets. Stay tuned, it's gonna get hot when the chefs of the River Region get cooking.
Hi, I'm Amy Shaw, and I'm in the LaRue Pine Hills area of the Shawnee National Forest overlooking the Mississippi River. Southern Illinois was formed by rivers. It's a place of great bounty and natural beauty. Southern Illinois also has a wealth of great people who've chosen to make this beautiful place their home, like the chefs you're about to meet. As it turns out, some of these chefs were actually looking for an opportunity just like this to show you their sizzle, some simple tricks, and their unique styles.
I would love to do a cooking show unlike any other cooking show that's ever been produced.
Nick Ryan will show us his crazy cooking style where everyone gets into the act. Nick and company prepare an outrageous smoked Cajun leg of lamb. Smell is unbelievable. We'll also meet Lasse Sorensen, who's creating a culinary legend of his own in this historic roadhouse in DeSoto, Illinois. Lasse, originally from Denmark, has a tough time defining his own style of cuisine.
I don't know any word for Scandinavian, French, Pacific Rim, California.
Call it what you will, his signature dishes, Muscovy duck and black and blue tuna, are adventuresome cuisine that's unbelievably easy to prepare if you have the right ingredients. And Lasse is not only a great hot kitchen chef, he's also a pastry chef extraordinaire. He'll show us how to make an elegant three-mousse basket. And speaking of desserts, Lorenzo Crostado shows us that he too is a master in the pastry kitchen when he creates a fabulous croquembouche. This looks pretty amazing. First up, Bill Ferris and the story behind Bistro 51. In a way, Bill's story starts right down there on the Mississippi floodplain in a hunt club.
It kind of got started as a hobby. Some of the other hunters and myself would fix breakfast for everybody and we'd fix lunch. So I got to where I enjoyed it. We would cook for up to 100 people on any weekend. So I got to where I would take my vacation and spend my whole time at the Goose Club and cook.
The story of Bill Ferris's midlife career change is an inspiring one. Now an accomplished chef, he'll demonstrate his bold and flavorful cooking techniques as he prepares one of his house specialties, pork roulade. But first, let's meet Bill Ferris, owner and executive chef of Bistro 51.
Bistro 51 has helped revitalize downtown Carbondale by providing diners with a true gourmet experience. Bill Ferris is owner of Bistro 51.
Carving roast beef, you want a bite?
Back on January 29, 1993, this was Bill Ferris. On this day, the Bunny Bread facility in Anna, Illinois, his employer of nearly 2 decades, closed its doors.
All the years that I drove a truck at Bunny Bread, I always kind of thought, you know, if something ever happened or when I retire, I'm going to open a little restaurant or a bar and grill or something. When the bakery closed, I said, now's my opportunity. I was 38 years old, and so I'm like, I'm off to culinary school. And there we have barbecued shrimp.
Bill attended the California Culinary Academy, which emphasizes classic French and California-style cuisine. This training was funded by a safety net program for displaced workers. Upon returning to Southern Illinois, Bill rolled up his sleeves and got down to business. When the dust had settled and the varnish dried, Bill and his friends had transformed this rundown building into an upscale eatery complete with native oak trim and cozy booths.
The booths originally came out of a drugstore in Alton, Illinois, and were moved out of there in 1923, I believe, the flood of the Mississippi.
This decor gives Bistro 51 its relaxing atmosphere. A well-trained and attentive staff helped Bill Ferris prepare his sumptuous selections.
Just putting your all into the work you're doing. I mean, take our time with the sauces we make here, make sure the procedures are followed and done the right way, so you don't get a lump in the sauce, whatever it might be. It's always done top-notch here.
Bill doesn't do all the cooking, but he's constantly checking on the quality.
Salt's ready.
What do you think?
Pretty tasty.
He really wants to teach people. He really wants them to learn, you know, a little bit about what he knows, and he knows a lot.
But it's just finishing it, letting the cheeses all come together. Your camera probably won't pick it up, but you'll see a sheen on top of it. And that's the fats in the cheese kind of coming to the surface and making a real glossy finish to it.
Working here has really, really inspired me to, maybe make a career of it.
From displaced worker to role model, Bill Ferris now employs 17 people and hopes the public hungers for what he has to offer.
I tell people, if you want to eat, you really shouldn't come to the bistro. But if you want to try dining experience, come let us try to show you what we do and what I think we do well, my whole staff and myself. We've done our job on this plate. They've ate it all, everything but the shell. Good night and happy eating from the bistro.
We're back at Bistro 51 with Chef Bill Ferris, and we're going to do two fabulous dishes today. Both pork roulade, one with a pecan crust
Yes.
and the other with a black pepper crust, with a beautiful mirepoix risotto and a red pepper sauce.
Yes.
I'm really excited to see this one. Let's talk about red peppers.
First thing we need to do is, I've already washed the peppers, but to get the sauce done, we want to roast the peppers. So we just lightly grease a pan. And we're just using the commercial grade of vegetable oil.
Okay.
And we lightly grease the peppers. Want to make sure you get it coated well. And we're just going to toss them in the oven and let them roast till the skin starts to char away.
About how long and what temperature?
375. I do all my oven work at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. It'll take them probably 10 minutes roughly. It depends on the humidity factors, but just till it chars the skin. Now we're going to take the pork. We're going to use a boneless pork loin, left the train on it, and I'm going to butterfly these.
Okay, and the train is this sort
The
of
train is a
tail?
little tail that's on there.
Okay.
You'll see it with the camera. It's a little different color meat, but it's still attached.
So you could go to your local butcher and you could get a whole pork loin. You could just slice this, or
You can slice this, or you can, at Arnold's Market in Carbondale, you can get these butterflied already. You can get them boneless. They have a wonderful meat counter there. I'm a lefty, I'll move these over here. We're just going to take and lightly butterfly it. We want to cut down, but not cutting all the way through, just to open it up, the muscle of the meat. And you see how the train opens up where you can see it. Now we're going to take a meat mallet, turn it over, and we're going to lightly tenderize and make the meat thinner so it rolls up much easier. But this is solid muscle meat, and it pretty much it doesn't splatter. And watch your fingers. They're just lightly tenderized so they'll roll up much easier. And I've made a stuffing of red peppers, green onions, and boiled shrimp. You can either do it with raw shrimp, but I went ahead and boiled it just so it would speed up the process. Been run through a food processor, and I've added the spices. I use a Cajun spice that we make here at the restaurant. You can add whatever kind of herbs you might like yourself.
So this is a pretty basic stuffing, really.
Yes.
If you didn't really like shrimp, could you use something
You
else?
could use chicken, you could use crawfish, you could use veal, you could use duck, whatever kind of flavor might be up
So
there.
a pretty adaptable.
Yes. You just take a couple of heaping teaspoons in each one.
Can you overstuff?
You just don't want it to run out the sides. It gets kind of messy. I like to put a lot of stuffing in it.
I tasted the stuffing. It's actually, it's very good.
So you can see the little pieces of shrimp and stuff down in
it's
there.
Really tasty.
We get our shrimp and seafood from Seafood Specialties in Anna, so this stuff is readily available. And I use my hand and I want to pat them out just a little bit. You just want to roll it up, kind of tuck it under, just keep rolling it together. And then the little train kind of sticks right under to hold it together.
Tuck together.
Uh-huh.
So you're not using, twine or anything. This is just rolled.
You can truss it, but this is a roulade, which is just rolled up.
So it's sort of a twist on a traditional German dish.
Yes.
I've had it stuffed with cabbage and more of that German flair. This really looks fantastic.
Roulade in French just means rolled up.
And then we're going to roll these in two different
Yes.
coatings.
Today we're going to roll 2 of them in black pepper, and 2 of them are going to be in pecans. And my pecans, native Southern Illinois, I pick my own pecans down at a little old grove in Reynoldsville at the Howard and Gladys Davis farm. Dear friends of mine, celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary on New Year's Day. So Gladys, this is your pecans that I'm getting ready to use. And there again, you want to lightly coat your pan. And you take the roulades, and I try to set them all on there before I spray them. And you just want to lightly coat them with this commercial spray.
And, you know, any cooking spray?
Any cooking, non-stick cooking oil will work. And we'll do 2 of them with the pecans.
Wow. That looks really good.
And it doesn't matter if it gets on the pan. Actually, the pan, it makes a great sauce at the end if you want to add it to a different style of sauce, not one we're doing today.
So you don't have to be tidy about this at all?
No, it's all on your pan.
So it doesn't, you don't have to coat it on a different surface.
No.
You can kind of keep it all in the same place. That's nice.
The other 2, we're going to coat with coarse ground black pepper. This will be much more spicy.
Sure. Now the sauce, the red pepper sauce, is going to complement either one of these just really nicely.
Either one will be fine. We're going to toss these in the oven, 375. It'll take them roughly 20, 25 minutes. You want to use a meat thermometer though, and you want an internal temperature of a minimum of 150 degrees.
Okay, we're
Now while we got the roulades roasting, we have the peppers roasting. They should be about done by now. Yeah, and for the camera's sake, we have 2 that I've already roasted and covered in plastic. And it loosens the skin up and all the juices you can see
look at that.
where it
That
steams
smells just wonderful.
it. And all you want to do is just take and lightly get a hold of
So
the
it's
skin.
just going to come right off.
Yes.
And you
yes.
don't have to, I've always heard you know, put it in a brown paper bag for a couple minutes.
Nah.
Just in a bowl,
It'll
plastic
do
wrap.
that, but the bowl works very well.
Right. And this catches all the juices probably
Yes.
a lot better.
Yes. And once you peel all this off, you can take and you want to pull the stem out. And what I do is I take mine and dip them in a little apple cider or a little vinegar of some sort, just to clean all the seeds out. You really don't want to use water because you're going to take a lot of your pepper flavor
yeah.
away. But
Wow.
you just peel them, and
Those
it
are
just
beautiful.
just comes right off.
Beautiful.
And then you take them after you get them
Oh.
cleaned, and you put them in a
That's
food
beautiful.
processor, and you just puree them just till you get the consistency you're looking
Looks
for.
really good.
Arborio rice is used to make risotto, a creamy textured side dish.
We're going to take and add some canola oil, olive oil mixture to our pan.
About how much you going to...
Oh, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. We want to lightly saute the risotto, the arborio rice, and the vegetables in it, just so it releases its natural oils. We'll bring our rice out, our mirepoix, celery, carrots, and onions. And then we're going to use a little basil, thyme, and oregano for the herbs. Pan's starting to get hot. We have some chicken stock on the back just steaming away because we're going to add this. Hot stock is the key to risotto. We'll add the rice. Slowly, just want to saute it just a little bit. Want it to soak up the oils.
How long will you saute this?
Just for a couple of minutes. We're going to add the onions, the carrots, and the celery. We just want to saute all this lightly, just to where it starts to tender itself a little bit, because it's actually going to do a braising process when we start adding the hot stock. At this point, we'll add the dry herbs, and there's like a half a teaspoon of each one of the herbs in there.
Could you use fresh?
You can use fresh, but you use 3 times the amount of fresh versus dry.
Okay.
Dry herbs, if you'll add them at the start of the process, there again, the heat opens up the oils that are in them. I know you at home can't smell it, but you can start to smell
Yeah,
it. You can see the rice starting to brown a little bit. While that's done, we're going to start our pan for our sauce so it gets hot. We're going to start our pepper sauce. We'll bring our stock out. Most people say to add a cup at a time, but here at the restaurant, we'll put 4 cups at a time in. And just slightly stir it in, and we want to let that absorb itself down, and then we'll just add some more to it.
About how much more total are you going to add?
Oh, I'll add probably close to a gallon by the time it's ready to eat.
And then it's just going to cook down. And how long is the cooking time?
Between 20 and 25 minutes till you get the tenderness that you
Stirring
desire.
constantly.
No, you don't have to stir constantly. As long as if you go with the 4 cups, see, as long as it doesn't stick, it's fine.
You're okay. Great.
So while the pan's getting hot, we're going to bring out the red pepper puree, the tomato puree, and then I have some roasted garlic and some basil and oregano for the pepper sauce.
About how much garlic are you using here?
This is a tablespoon or so.
Okay, you could use more.
It's again to taste,
yeah.
right. We're going to add the apple cider. And here again, I use 1 spoon. I'm going to add the tomato puree.
About how much is that?
It's a cup. There's a cup of cider and a cup of puree. And I want to bring these 2 together. And we're going to add the red pepper puree. As you can see how thick it is.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Such a rich color.
And if you'll notice, the risotto is really starting to get a nice boil to it. The stock is starting to reduce itself down. At this point, I add another cup. This is an 8-ounce ladle. And I cook everything on high heat.
While the risotto reduces and the red pepper sauce simmers, Bill quickly sautés some pre-blanched carrots and beans, adding just a touch of stock at the end.
To kind of steam it. We can plate this now because the pork is done. The risotto is almost done. Just pour a little on the plate. And you can use a spoon to ladle it out. I just pick it up, kind of toss it on it like that. Grab one of the pepper encrusted ones. It's here first.
Oh, wow.
Set it right there. Get a few more of the carrots in there. I'm a lefty, so I have to turn the plate just a little.
Beautiful.
Made some little garnish here this morning for it.
This looks and smells fantastic. Just beautiful.
And we'll add just a little Parmesan cheese to the risotto. And a little parsley just around the rim of the plate.
That's great.
That's a roasted pork roll lodge stuffed with shrimp and vegetables from Bistro 51.
Beautiful. Chef Bill Ferris. Old stores. It's hard to imagine what Southern Illinois would be like without them. Places like the Pomona General Store have become institutions. Another old store that's become an institution is the Lick Creek General Store. Not really a general store, a restaurant of sorts. Crazy things happen there, as you'll soon find out. But that's typical fare for the Lick Creek General Store, where anything goes.
You might want to move back just a little bit.
The Lick Creek General Store offers a one-of-a-kind dining experience because owner Nick Ryan is truly an original. Nick doesn't have formal training as a chef. He just loves food. Dinner at Nick's is an eclectic affair, 9 courses in all.
My whole life, you look at it, I got into college, well, you're going to have a party, you're going to have food. And at SIU there, befriended innumerable amounts of international students and met these folks, and we'd bring them down to the farm or bring them here to Lick Creek. We'd have these big, huge feeds, you know, so it was food all the time. There was food there, food.
About the closest Nick has come to formal training was when he bumped around Paris, occasionally finding day work at the back door of restaurants.
And had a chance to see some of your finer French cuisine from the bottom, literally the drag part of it, up.
As for cooking style, Nick says he has none, although he seems to favor Cajun and Creole.
The bottom line is the palate. If it tastes good and people eat it and they like it, then you've done something right. The problem becomes, how do we recreate that all the time?
Nick is a strong believer in getting food as fresh as possible and supporting local purveyors.
Well, we're getting ready to go grocery shopping this morning. You can see we have virtually nothing in our refrigerator. We like to buy everything as fresh as we can. However, yesterday we did pick up a leg of lamb from a local producer here in Union County, the Walton Farm. We'll be cooking that for you here in a little while. But right now it's time to go to the grocery store and get the rest of the stuff we're going to need. So that's where we'll be headed off this morning.
Everything Nick Ryan does is an adventure.
We call this the town car because it might make it to town if we're lucky.
Fortunately, Nick's favorite place to shop is just a few miles away in Goreville.
This is absolutely the greatest market there is, as far as I'm concerned. It's got almost everything we ever need for the restaurant. We can do almost 95% of our shopping right here in this little family-owned place in Goreville. It's fantastic. Check it out.
Nick sometimes makes up his menu on the fly while he shops.
That'll work. Let's see what we got here tomato-wise. Oh, Brussels sprouts. I was going to do some Brussels sprouts to go along with this leg of lamb. Oh, aren't they beautiful? Look at that. You see, nice and ripe. Check it out. These are the best hams there are. Just telling them about what a fantastic market this is.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We need all the help we can get.
Oh, like I said, I would do about 95% of the shopping for our restaurant right
yeah,
here.
I tell you what, and the owner appreciates it too. Help pay for my kids' college.
There you go, there you go. This business here literally supports 7 or 8 families. They have livable wages from this store, and then they provide an incredible service for several thousand people in this small community. And it's mom and pop. It's locally owned, and I feel good about giving them my money. I always have, and if there were more like them, I'd do that as well.
Nick, we have a beautiful leg of lamb here. Tell me about this leg of lamb.
Well, this is from the Diefenbachs, the Thorgmortons, actually, I'm sorry, in Union County, the Walton Farm. And they raise lamb right here. So it's a local Southern Illinois product. It's a small one. It's about 5 to 7 pounds. And this will easily serve 6 to 8 people. It'll
Excellent.
be a nice little, a nice little for dinner or a nice luncheon, but we're going to Cajun it up today.
Okay, how do we Cajun up a leg of lamb?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to get started here. What we're basically going to do is it's fresh. It's never been frozen.
Okay.
So we're not going to do anything fancy. We're not even going to trim any of the fat off of it because we're going to put it on this smoker. And the fat will help keep it moist and tender.
Kind of seal everything in.
Yeah, and it's because if we still have, it's the whole leg. The bone is in here, and the tendon is in here.
Okay.
And so the tendon has a tendency, if all the fat's trimmed off of it, to suck in all the juices and dry out the meat. So we don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to stud this thing. We're going to go in here like this.
So studding is just cutting little holes and
yeah,
okay.
all the way around it. And we'll just take some garlic cloves.
These are
and
just plain old.
plain old whole heads.
Okay.
Nice big heads. We'll just punch them down in these holes like that. See what I'm doing? Okay, now to Cajun it up a little bit, you don't need a whole bunch of, that was a little big one there, so we'll cut that in half.
And you could use as much garlic as you really
Oh yeah, I mean,
prefer.
garlic is wonderful though. This is really, really, really good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll punch them down in here, and then, now most people you want to use gloves with a
Okay.
habanero. Now this is a habanero
Habanero
pepper.
is like the hottest.
It's about the hottest pepper in
Okay.
the world. There's debate about that subject.
Yeah, so you want to be
but,
careful.
Yeah.
And if you didn't really want that spicy, could you use another?
You wouldn't even have to use it if you didn't want to. But I like to put some of them in here because it'll give it that kick. Just punch them down in the holes.
Okay.
You could turn this one over and do the same thing on the
Just do the whole
bottom.
side, okay.
Right. So we would put more in here.
Okay.
Now what we're going to do is going to season it up a little bit.
Okay.
So we got a little salt and pepper.
Okay.
And at Lick Creek we don't really measure anything.
I noticed
I
that we
call
didn't
it
have
cooking
any.
with reckless abandon. You
Okay.
know? Just sprinkle some salt on here like that. Get a
Great.
little messy. Don't worry about getting your hands dirty in the kitchen. You know, that's why you got a sink and paper towel.
Okay.
So a little pepper. Get some pepper on here.
And we
Rub
should
this
we should
thing
mention
down.
our facilities here. We're barbecuing right in front of,
Right outside.
right in front of
This
the
is what we
general store.
actually do here
so
at Lick Creek.
you can hear
We-
the traffic going by and
the traffic, the wind, the birds, you name it, the people. So now we're going to take, we got a little basil here, a little
Okay.
dried basil. Rub that in.
do you have any preference over fresh or dried?
Fresh is good. What I like about the dried is it just works in there really good.
Okay.
If it's fresh, it's going to, kind of fall off the
Okay.
leaves and things. But I'll tell you what's really good is when you get it all done, if you had a lot of fresh herbs to throw right on top of
Sounds
it.
good.
And the more the merrier.
Okay.
And then we got a little thyme, and we rub that in.
Is there any such thing as kind of over seasoning here? Or?
I'll tell you what, I don't think so with what we're going to do here.
Okay.
Because this meat, it'll help, it just helps hold in all those juices and things, and we're going to put it on the smoker. So it's going to smoke.
Suck
It's going
right
to
in.
smoke
Okay.
real slow. We want to probably smoke this for 2.5 hours, something like that. And if
Okay.
you don't have a big smoker like this,
Yeah.
you could do it on your little Weber at home.
so
or,
it's going to have the same effect. It's just you obviously have this great contraption here.
yeah,
It's-
wonderful contraption.
Yeah.
A friend of ours manufactured that, so
That's,
made it.
it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's been through the mill, so to speak. But it works.
Okay.
As long as it works. Now we got a Cajun seasoning here. This
And
is just cayenne, a little ground cumin, or you can buy a Cajun seasoning already
Just
at
like
the
in the grocery
supermarket.
store. Okay,
Right.
but you do your
There's-
own Cajun
Yeah,
seasoning?
we mix our own up. It is, like I said, it's got a lot of cayenne pepper in
Mm-hmm.
it. Got a little dried cumin in it. A little dried oregano, dried garlic, dried onion
So
powder.
some good punch.
So if you want to make your own experiment with it, it's great.
Okay.
Or you could just go to the store and buy, like, I think I've even got a Tony's here.
Okay.
A product, one that's already done. But we're going to be liberal with this.
Okay.
We're really going to be liberal. Like they use this like to blacken fish with,
Yep.
and chicken, and they really put it on heavy because it's really going to coat this, and it's going to be good. So we're going to flip that over.
Sounds like kind of anything goes with this. It's not.
That's
if
right.
you didn't want to use certain.
Exactly.
Spices
And we're not
you
going to
could-
get fancy here. We're not going to take this thing and butterfly it, cut it off
Okay.
the bone. This is a whole
going
leg
the
of
whole
lamb,
thing.
Cajun leg of lamb, and it will be wonderful.
How long is it going to cook?
Well, it just depends. Now, in this smoker, we won't want it to cook too fast.
Okay.
We
Nice
want
and
it to
slow.
cook nice and slow and smoke.
Okay.
So the smokier the fire, we got a nice fire going
Okay.
here.
Yeah, I can
and what we'll
feel
do,
it.
you can feel it.
Yeah.
What we'll do is we'll add, we'll hit it with some water once in a while
Okay.
to kick some smoke up. And I would say, depending on the temperature,
Okay.
probably about 2.5 hours.
Okay.
If this thing is at about 250 to 300 degrees.
Okay. So if you were doing it on your, gas grill,
Right.
about the same, like a medium
Exactly.
heat.
Well, we'll
medium
get
low?
a meat thermometer out here later.
Okay.
And for rare, a lot of people like lamb rare, and that would be at around 125 degrees
Okay.
with an internal temperature. Other people would want it to get at least like 155.
Okay.
So 155
So
internal
just
temperature,
whatever your
and
preference
it's
is.
ready. So however long it takes, this is a barbecue thing.
Okay.
You sit back, you take your time, you have a nice glass of wine, some
Okay.
beers.
It's the journey. It's the journey.
You're not in a big hurry with
Okay.
this. We're not in a hurry at Lick Creek ever.
What are we going to do with this honey?
Okay, now what we're going to do here we're going to take this and we're going to set it in a pan
Okay.
like this. If you don't have a pan like that, just go to the store.
Great. Easy.
Buy something like this, you know, it's
Like you
a
said,
couple of
doesn't have
bucks.
to be fancy.
Doesn't have to be fancy
Okay.
at all. The less fancy, the better. Now we're going to put this in here. We're going to put the fat side up. Now we're going to turn this
Okay.
a couple of times during the process.
But you
We
started
want-
out fat side
yeah,
up.
and we want to keep it moist. Now a lot of people don't like to get honey on their hands, but it doesn't bother me. So we're just going to drizzle some honey on here. Now, tell you what you could do is get one of these wonderful Southern Illinois wines, you know, from the vineyards around here. You know, grapes are the great thing going on. And put a half a cup or a cup of wine on it.
Instead of the honey?
No, right on top of that
Ah.
honey. And then really glaze it up nice. Whatever your favorite local vintage
Red,
is.
white, doesn't
Yeah,
matter?
go to Alto, go to Owl Creek, go to the Pomona and get what,
Just get 'em
or
in.
like, you know, a nice fruity wine
Uh-huh.
or whatever. You know, the sky's the limit. Don't be afraid, you know, to do whatever you want.
Speaking of that lovely Illinois wine,
There you go.
I just have to have a glass.
There you go. There you
Perfect.
go.
What kind is this? Do we know?
I'm not really sure. He just drug it in from the house.
This looks awesome.
Ready to go.
Okay.
It's
we're
ready
gonna
to go in the
this.
smoker. Go
okay.
for it.
You dare me to open it?
I dare you to open it.
Oh
It's a
my
big
gosh.
one. It's a big one. Ah, see, you can do it. Your Weber at home's probably a bit
Okay.
smaller.
Yeah, a little bit easier,
Yeah,
but
we're ready to go. We're just going to close this up. We'll come out and turn it a couple of times
Awesome.
in the next couple
that's
hours.
great.
Simple. Simple.
Nick, I understand you're going to make some
Yeah, we're
awesome
gonna
side dishes
stuff
for
some
our...
tomatoes here. We core these out.
Okay.
I like to core them out like this and leave the head on. Okay, we've got the pulp over here.
So you just got them.
Yeah, we gut them and put that in here.
Okay.
We've got some butter over here that we've melted with a little olive
Oh,
oil.
looks great.
It smells good too.
Yeah, it
In
does.
goes the tomato pulp. We've got that cooking away.
Okay.
I'm going to put some spinach in here.
Great. You can just use
Yeah,
frozen
frozen
thawed.
spinach would be fine.
Could you use fresh?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Yeah, chop it up nice and fine like that. Okay, we've got that going there. A little bit of shallot.
Great.
Add that shallot. Add some fresh parsley. We've got
Okay.
that in there. We've got a little bit of salt, you know, and a little bit of pepper.
Always, always.
Oh, just a little pinch there. We
Oh,
got
this
that
smells.
going. And it's smelling
It
good.
smells great.
All right. And the breadcrumbs.
Those look
You
great.
know, some fresh breadcrumbs. You can buy the ones in the
We
store
can cheat. That's okay.
if you
Take
want
it
to.
easy.
And get that nice and thick, like that.
Okay.
You can then you take that,
Oh,
and I
it
like to take it.
smells
Isn't that
fantastic.
nice? Stuff those right in there like that. Pop that in the oven. Put the little crown back
Okay.
on. Tommy, why don't you come and show them? I think we've got some that are done. These go in a 325-degree oven
Okay.
for about 15, 20
Just
minutes.
to get them warm and a little
to
soft.
get them nice and warm. And here's
Oh,
what
these
they
look
look
great.
like.
Oh, these
They'll
smell
look
fantastic.
really good around the lamb.
That's great. So this is just a great side dish for leg of lamb.
Really good for leg of lamb.
Okay.
And then
Provincial
we've got
tomato.
something else back here. We've got some
Oh,
Brussels
this
sprouts
looks good.
steaming away. And I like to put some butter in them
Okay.
and some pecans.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, the pecans. Let them steam in
Oh,
there
that's
for about
beautiful.
5-6 minutes. Don't let them lose their color.
Okay.
And they'll look great around that leg
Great.
of
Oh,
lamb.
I can't wait to see the finished product.
It will be good, we hope.
A great side dish also is crawfish.
Oh, they absolutely. It'll bring out all the colors, all the
Okay.
reds
Can't
and
have
the
a made
greens.
Cajun meal without them.
One thing we always do at Lick Creek is we got to have crawfish.
Sounds good.
So this doesn't take long, and we'll serve them with everything that we're getting ready here.
Awesome. This is just water.
It's just water boiling
What do you
away.
think?
We're
More
going to
Cajun
take
spice?
that Cajun spice of our own. We're going to throw it in
Awesome.
there. Tom, bring out those crawfish. And bring out the crawfish. We get these
Oh.
from Seafood Specialties in Anna.
This looks great.
And yeah, look at them. They're ready to go. We'll put them right in the water.
Woohoo.
And you can add a little hot sauce if you want. We like to put a lot of hot sauce in it. And I'll tell you what, they'll come to a nice boil. And let them go for about 5 minutes.
There they go.
Fish them out and serve them.
Awesome.
If you don't have a big pot, just use a small one right on your stove.
The leg of lamb has been cooking for 2.5 hours. Nick's crew turned it about every 30 minutes or so, being careful not to pierce into the meat with the fork. The crawfish quickly cooked, and this Cajun feast is now ready to serve.
Voila.
Oh, Cajun leg of lamb. You cannot even imagine how wonderful this smells right now. Oh, and it looks fabulous. You know, I never knew Cajun leg of lamb would be that easy.
It's so simple. It's so easy. Anybody can do this.
I've always shied away from
cooking with reckless
lamb.
abandon. Just don't be afraid.
This is
Do
great.
it. Just grab it. And we threw some potatoes on at the last minute in the lamb fat. You know, cook those potatoes in that lamb fat.
This is fantastic.
And we got some crawfish ready to go, the stuffed tomatoes.
Excellent.
And the Brussels sprouts with the pecan butter.
How about you slice me off a
Oh,
piece of
let's
that?
see. Let's see what it looks like here. Let's hope everything looks wonderful here. Oh, crawfish is falling in the way.
Oh my.
Isn't that nice?
This is fabulous.
It's so, boy, oh boy,
The
you can
smell
smell
is
that.
unbelievable. Oh, it is just amazing, the aroma.
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Cajun leg of lamb, Lick Creek General Store. I'm here at International Grocery in Carbondale. Our next chef, Lasse Sorensen, tells us that he gets many of the exotic ingredients he uses in his dishes right here. Ingredients are everything to Lasse. Everything has to be fresh.
So I needed a really big cooler. I just got this installed. And
This huge walk-in fridge is like a vault where he stores his bounty. The cost of installing this massive appliance symbolizes the incredible leap of faith that Lasse and his wife took in buying Tom's Place. With 8 years of European cooking apprenticeships and 10 years of preparing cutting-edge California cuisine, DeSoto, Illinois is not exactly where you'd expect to find a chef of Lasse Sorensen's caliber, but that's exactly where he and his wife, Mary Jane, have chosen to live.
What brought us to Southern Illinois was my husband had a vision and a dream to own his own restaurant, and he fell in love with this place and forced me to come here. No, I'm kidding. No, that was bad. We better start over.
I liked it.
Well, that
Yeah.
is actually true.
Yeah, it
because
is true.
You didn't want to
I
come
didn't.
here.
Yeah, I didn't want to come here at the time.
The rebirth of Tom's Place is a touching story for Mary Jane and Lasse Sorensen.
Lasser said, well, let's just give this a try, and I'm so happy that we did, because we love it here.
I thought I remembered it being a little more sweet than that. I had to promise her not to work any of the holidays. That was one of the things that she was very adamant about. So we will always be closed on those holidays because I have to keep that promise.
Lasse's standards are like his promises, unwavering.
What I'm doing is I'm checking the oysters that they're all alive.
Items like caviar, truffles, foie gras, and lobsters are the gold standard for
And we
Lasse.
got,
As an
fresh
apprentice
foie
in
gras.
Denmark, he was admonished to learn to
And
love
that's
these
a,
items by his
a
mentor.
duck liver, and that's some of the most expensive things you can eat. And I've definitely reached a point where I think that that's the best things you can eat. And that passion is what I want to share with people in Southern Illinois. I want them to come here and feel the same way, like, wow, they got foie gras today, or wow, they have beluga caviar from Russia.
Lasse's passion for quality is precisely what worried his wife.
I was a little nervous knowing the quality of food that my husband prepares just before you put it on the menu is expensive. He only uses the finest ingredients and the freshest and the finest and the best.
Everything is supposed to be a little out of the ordinary at Tom's Place.
We're making a sun-dried tomato and pecan bread. It's what it's going to be today.
My grandparents lived in Carbondale their whole life. As a child, I would come here, and I have some memories of when I was 7, 8 years old of bread being thrown back and forth across the booth. And
Mary Jane's roots led them here from California, but it was the history of this roadhouse that hooked them.
And we were very fortunate that these pictures were actually left for us.
Tom's Place was notorious as a discreet meeting place for gangsters like Charlie Berger, John Dillinger, and Al Capone.
And one of our unique features of the restaurant, which we enjoy a lot as do our clients, are individual dining rooms. And there used to be a big door on this side, and then where the mirror is back here was also another door so that the guests could escape if they needed to.
It was this unique atmosphere that ultimately attracted Lasse and Mary Jane, but it was Lasse's reputation for quality that attracted Jim Reed and his wife Becky.
Oh, I think I was one of the first customers in the door. I ran up here trying to meet the chef.
The Reedsfield Privilege, Losser and Mary Jane, chose this restaurant and Southern Illinois as their home.
We're so lucky to have a chef of his caliber in Southern Illinois. I mean, it requires a city of considerable population to support a chef like Lasser in most cases.
As for Losser, as long as he can make a living pursuing his passion, he's here to stay.
For me, it's if I can't do what I love to do, I don't want to do it. And that was the whole idea of this restaurant. It's this beautiful stuff.
We're here at Tom's Place, and we're with Lasser Sorensen in his kitchen, and today we're going to do Muscovy duck and black and blue tuna. Muscovy duck, exactly what is that?
Muscovy duck is a breed of duck, and it's aged and has a lot of fat inside, so it'll be real moist. I make a couple of slits in it here. That'll make the fat melt a lot quicker.
Okay. You're putting cloves, just for some flavor.
It'll flavor the fat real well, so that'll make it taste real. That's the best part of the duck here is the fat.
Could you substitute other types of duck if you couldn't get Muscovy duck? Could you use wild duck or something that you bought locally?
But it's important to age. If you use a wild duck, it's important to age it for a long time.
Okay.
And while we're doing this here, we'll take some garlic cloves for the sauce. Put a little oil on.
Okay. You're just going to roast this?
Just going to roast it in the oven until they're golden brown. That's it. We'll put it in the oven. Okay. Then we need some onions for the sauce.
Any particular type of onion that you prefer to use? These look like little red onions.
These are shallots. They're really, really nice. And it makes the sauce a little filling. Since we're not going to do a lot of vegetables for the sauce, so or for the dish itself, so we're going to use a lot of onions in the sauce. I like that. Okay. And we'll put some cabbage with it. It's kind of like a Scandinavian flair.
You prefer the red cabbage for this?
Just because of the color.
Yeah, presentation, it's very pretty.
All right, so that's ready to go. And also, we're going to use a couple of green onions.
Okay.
We'll save all the parts for stock. We do a lot of stocks here all the time, so all the ingredients we have left over are used in the stock.
Anything can be reused?
Anything goes.
Okay. How long is that duck going to saute?
You want to have it real golden and nice color on it, but it has to, what you want to do is you have to melt up as much fat as we can in the beginning. So we're going to saute the cabbage in the duck fat.
Okay.
So it needs a little longer.
Can you overcook duck?
Very easily. And I will recommend to use a thermometer and to about 125 degrees. Take it out, and it'll probably go for another 10 degrees even though you took it out of the oven. So it'll be
better to
quick.
be a little underdone than
so
overdone.
Now it's ready to go. We'll put it in the oven.
Great.
Go. All right, we'll take the
And this
cabbage.
is just the duck fat that came off the breast?
This is just the fat that came out of the breast. This is yours extra. And then at the same time, I have a little butter here. We're going to start the sauce we're making.
Okay. So you're just going to saute the shallots a little bit in the butter?
Yeah.
Lasser, did you originally start out in this life wanting to be a chef, or how did that all come about?
Well, my dad wanted me to be a pastry chef, so I'm a pastry chef as well.
Okay.
And I started out with that, doing that for 4 or 5 years, and then I really had the passion in the hot kitchen, so after I was done working for my dad, I started an apprenticeship in a Michelin star restaurant in Copenhagen.
A Michelin star restaurant is what?
It's a just the way they grade restaurants in Europe, and only the finest restaurants receive Michelin stars. Okay, we'll need a little salt and pepper in here too. Okay. And here is how the garlic looks after it's roasted. We'll
How long
put
did that
in.
roast?
For about 15 minutes.
Okay, so it doesn't take very long.
Doesn't take very long. We'll
So
put
you're
that
just
in
going to
here.
add that to the shallots and the butter,
Yeah.
salt and pepper. So pretty basic.
And then leftover red wine is good. A little red wine in here. This is the hard part. Here is the demi-glace that we're using.
Okay, what exactly is demi-glace?
Demi-glace is a veal stock that is reduced down into a glaze. We make about 5 gallons of it every week, and it takes about 300 pounds of bones.
So most of us aren't going to have 300 pounds of bones just laying around the house. So how are we going to...
Well, you can buy that in specialty
Okay.
stores as well.
That's good.
Okay, I'm sure our duck's done. Duck is ready. Looks good.
Very good.
Okay. We have the plate here ready, and put the onions over here and cook them a little bit.
Lester, I know you've been referred to as the vertical chef, so the presentation is obviously very important to you.
Yeah, I think that it's part of the dining experience that you also, the dish looks great.
Lasser quickly mixes Berson cheese with mashed Texas Gold potatoes. Starchy vegetables form the base for his vertical presentation.
Okay, this is real good.
This looks fantastic.
And then we'll put a little bit over here on the plate. Some people prefer to, you can use like an ice cream scoop or whatever to put it out, but this here works real well.
Okay.
And we'll put one of those in to get the
This is fresh rosemary.
fresh rosemary, and
And
I have a
then-
tortilla chip.
Okay.
We'll put a little bit of cabbage. Like that. The sauce we're making is a lingonberry sauce.
What are
So,
lingonberries?
Lingonberries is a Swedish berry, and I get that in international market.
Here
They have a
in
lot
Carbondale?
Here at Carbondale,
Okay.
yeah.
So it is something you can get locally?
Yeah, but you can easily substitute with raisins, cranberries, and any kind of dried fruit if you want to.
Okay, so just sort of a sweet tart.
Sweet tart flavor.
Okay.
And just put it around here a little
Wow.
bit. We're going to make sure all the time that the plate is clean. And I have some dried parsley. I like to use that as decorations on the
Beautiful.
rims here.
Do you like to see people's eyes as they come upon these beautiful plates as you're serving them?
Well, we get a lot of good response on the presentation we do. So I think that that's very important. Okay, so then some people cut it this way. I like to cut it the other way because from a presentation standpoint, the slices looks a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
And I like to cook it pink, like this.
This is beautiful and it smells fantastic.
And then we will fan it out here.
Okay, our Muscovy duck, 1/2 of our feast, and now we're going to do black and blue tuna.
This is a really quick dish.
Okay.
And what we need is a very hot pan. Vegetable oil is what you want to use. You don't want to use an olive oil because you can heat olive oil too much.
Okay.
So we want the pan to be real hot. I have a piece of tuna here, beautiful ahi tuna.
Tuna like this, is this something that we can find in Southern Illinois? Or
Actually,
is this...
I've seen it a couple of times in Schnucks. They have some very nice fish there. You can get it. This is a Hawaiian ahi, and it's called a #1 because of the color it has. It's rated a #1, which is the best. So this is what you want to do. But you know, and any kind of tuna you can actually do the same dish with. So you want to make sure you get a lot.
What are you encrusting this tuna in
It's
right now?
I have a blackened spice mix that I use. It's you know, there's a lot of different spice mixes out there, and I think you can use any kind you want, really. It's cumin, sugar, salt, pepper, granulated garlic, onion powder. All right. So what we want to do is just cook the sugar a little bit on the outside. That's really all it requires on this dish. And I have a plate here. I put some daikon radish on, some sesame seeds. You could use a regular radish. It gives it, I want it to be like a Pacific,
Sure, so it's
Pacific
very
Rim style
pretty.
menu.
You've got some sesame seeds in there as well.
Got some sesame seeds in, yeah. You want to watch this real carefully. You don't want to overcook it because it's going to dry out. So you just move it from side to side.
Okay, so very briefly, like really how long do you think you're...
Under a minute.
What kind of risotto is this?
It's a basil tomato risotto we made.
Wow. This looks pretty good.
All right. And we'll do my signature here, the rosemary again. And our tortilla, we can put it on the other way now so it looks a little different.
Okay. Do you think people are hesitant to eat fish that isn't cooked very much? I mean, a minute is...
I have people who come to the restaurant and they say, well, when the waiter explains to them it's raw on the inside, but as soon as you try it, you're hooked.
I'm hooked looking at it, believe me.
Okay.
And it smells really great.
That's it already. We made a butter sauce. It's called beurre blanc. And we'll just give a little bit of this here in the bottom. Okay. And our asparagus.
Beautiful. Gosh, the mix of colors is really gorgeous.
Okay. And for decoration, I use a shoyu sauce, and it's just soya sauce and mustard, sesame seed oil.
Do you cook that together, or
I
just...
cook that together and put a little cornstarch in it too.
So it sort of thickens it up and then... Beautiful.
And then again, I like this stuff here on the plate. Okay, so now we're ready to cut. Look at that color.
That's beautiful.
This is really one of my favorite things to eat.
Black and blue tuna and Muscovy duck from Tom's Place in DeSoto, Illinois. Lasser, this looks fantastic. I cannot wait to eat.
Well, let's go eat.
If you have a sweet tooth like me, you probably already know about Cristaudo's Bakery and Restaurant in Carbondale. Cristaudo's is best known for their pink cookies. Thank you. And their 8 treasure brownies. Owner Lorenzo Cristaudo has been honored by the city for his bakery's longtime service to the community. What you may not know about Cristaudo's is that you can order specialty catering items like croquette bouche. All you have to do is ask. We're here at Cristaudo's restaurant in Carbondale, Illinois with owner and executive chef Lorenzo Cristaudo. Today we're going to make croquette bouche. What is croquette bouche?
It's a very large pile of cream puffs.
It looks a lot prettier than a very large pile of cream puffs, but it looks like a really elaborate production. So fill us in on how this
Well,
really...
it's fairly simple. We start out making a show paste or a cream puff dough, which is on the stove. And we go mix some whipped cream and fill them up and stack them together with some fudge.
Great, let's go.
Okay. Start out with our basic beginning point. There's water, a little bit of salt.
About how much salt?
Well, that's 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, 1.5 cups of water, and 1/2 cup of butter.
Just going to get that going
And just get that going to a good boil. Okay, the water is boiling real well with the butter in it, and usually we do this on the stove, but we just dump the cup and a half of flour
into, how much water was it?
or equal amounts, and it
Stick
makes,
of butter, 1/8 teaspoon of salt.
Yep, that's it, and it gets really
Very pasty.
very pasty, and we just want to return that to the stove a little bit so it cleans up, dries out a little bit, isn't too pasty.
So you
but
really
more,
want a dough.
We want it to look like a dough. That's a good description. Okay, we'll just put that on the stove for 30 seconds to a minute. And this is how the dough should be before you start adding the eggs.
Looks a lot like mashed potatoes.
Quite a bit thicker. If you make mashed potatoes the way you're not supposed to, this is what they'd be like. Good and pasty. So we put in our eggs one at a time.
How many eggs are we gonna?
That's 6 of them.
6 eggs. All time.
Right. Try and keep the shells out too, that always helps. And this is always done off the heat.
What's the tallest one of these that you've ever constructed?
This will be it. This is our last egg.
Any mistakes that you can make at this point that
This is easy. It's just hard to stir, but it's easy.
just keep stirring
It's
and
an
stirring?
easy thing to make, and it always puffs.
Oh, you've never had a non-puff?
I've never heard of anybody not having a puff. I'll just mix that up real good, and it's ready to bag out and bake into cream puff shells.
Okay.
You can use a spoon, but I have so much here I'm going to use a pastry bag.
Okay. If you used a spoon, just a teaspoon, and just put a
Well,
dollop
we'd probably,
on the...
yeah, we'd probably do about,
Okay.
about that much.
I know.
About a half a tablespoon
I
at a
certainly
time.
get a little more nervous when it comes to using pastry bags, but so you could do it either way, but obviously pastry
Sure.
bag makes it a little prettier.
Uniform and quick. Fold it over, hang on to it that way. It also gives you something to scrape against so you don't get it on your hands.
So this is basically the same dough that you would use for a large cream puff.
Exactly the same.
So just
Yeah, or an eclair. It's the same dough. We'll just get started with this right here.
okay.
Squeeze it down into the bag and start getting them out.
So those are gonna what, double in size?
Oh, double. Yeah, double's a good word. And got our first pan ready for the oven. And we'll bake these for about 35 minutes at around 400 degrees.
Okay.
We'll have nice little cream puff shells. And in they go. And here's the
Oh wow.
finished cream puff, all puffed up. I say
Those
that's
look
about
great.
3 times the
I-
size.
They have achieved
Nice
volume.
and light, yeah. Yeah, a little warm still, but let's see how. Well, I'll show you later.
Okay, great. Can't wait
Okay,
to assemble.
we'll go fill them.
Great. We've got our cream puffs out of the oven. We're gonna get ready to fill them.
Yep. Let them cool here while
Okay.
we mix up our chantilly cream.
And chantilly cream.
It's
consists
whipped
of-
cream with gelatin in it to help stabilize it.
Okay.
So I've had these the bowl and beater chilling.
And that's important if you're gonna make really good stiff whipped cream. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So an ice cold bowl.
So ice cold bowl,
beater,
nice good strong whipping cream.
and heavy whipping cream.
Heavy, whatever you can find that's the
Okay.
heaviest. You know, more butter
The more
fat,
fat, the better.
Absolutely. As this gets started, I'll gradually add the sugar.
How much sugar are you gonna add to this?
That's a pint of whipping cream, and I'll add a quarter of a cup of sugar.
Okay.
The magic sugar. Just kind of drizzle it in as it's whipping, and as this gets nice and foamy, we'll crank up the speed.
And you just go by sight.
I'm going by sight. It's probably about a 3-minute job, but as everybody knows, if you over whip cream,
You're gonna
you've got some butter for breakfast.
We've got some great rolls here at Costado's that we could probably use that on.
Yeah, it tastes good, sweet butter. I've cranked it up a little bit.
Great.
Okay, that looks pretty good. I've turned the speed down a little bit so I don't
Okay.
overwhip it. And
So
it's
you don't want it.
nice
You don't
and
really want
stiff.
this too full. You're
No,
kind
no.
of
Since
maybe
we're adding the gelatin to it as well, it'll stiffen up as it chills after we fill the puffs. But it's nice and soft peaks. That's all you need, and that's it.
looks great.
Okay, so now I'll get the other ingredients. We have vanilla, which we can just fold in.
And what does the gelatin do here?
The gelatin will set up as a normal gel would, like Jell-O, except that it'll be in the whipped cream and it'll stabilize it, make it a little bit stiffer, and it won't let the
So
whipped
not
cream
gooey
melt
and-
out.
Okay.
Right. At first it'll look a bit runny, but as it sets up, it'll be fine.
And you're going to add strawberry jam.
Strawberry jam, and I've
What are other things that you could add to that?
apricot, strawberry, blueberry, whatever you like. If you want, you could even add some liqueur, which we're not doing in this case. But the flavor combination I'm going for is the strawberry and then the fudge.
How do you know when they're kind of full?
I can see it.
Lorenzo puts the
See
whipped
the
cream
color change?
mixture into a
Watch
pastry
right here.
bag and then begins filling the mini cream puffs. Once
yeah.
he's filled about 60 or so, he's ready to start stacking.
We've filled all our beautiful little cream puffs.
Yes, we have.
Let's assemble this
Okay,
creation.
we have a little decorative board already set up and some fudge ready. It's not too hard, not too soft. And what I'll do is apply the fudge to the bottom of the cream puff so that anywhere we put a cream puff, it'll stick.
Sort of anchoring.
Them to the board, and then eventually as we're going along, we'll still do just the bottoms. And that will make sure that wherever we put them, they'll be stationary.
Great.
It's like stacking blocks, starting with a wide base and building up. Since this process takes about 5 or 10 minutes, we've sped it up. Soon, Lorenzo's pyramid of cream puffs is complete.
Beautiful. Now what? It's just
And
going to drizzle.
Just drizzle.
Wow.
The final touch is white chocolate that Lorenzo had melted in his microwave.
This looks pretty amazing.
And if you were so inclined, you could stick little flowers in there. Edible flowers would be nice. But we're just going to leave it with a chocolate finish. And that's just about it. And voila, one croquembouche.
Fabulous. Croquembouche from Cristados in Carbondale, Illinois.
It's a cinch.
This looks wonderful. And finally, an encore from Lasse Sorensen. Lasse started his career as a Danish pastry chef. In fact, it was those skills as a pastry chef that allowed him to get a green card to work in the United States. Upscale California restaurants just couldn't find people with those types of skills. And he still has that magic touch. Just watch. Lasse is actually a classically trained pastry chef, and he's going to treat us today by making a really seemingly elaborate dessert. It's 3 mousse in a sugar basket.
Yeah.
And like I said, it looks really difficult, but
It's the dough we made is made with sugar, flour, butter, glucose, and nuts.
okay. And
And
glucose.
glucose is the only special ingredients in the recipe. You can get it at the pharmacy.
Okay.
And we put the dough in here, put it on an oil pan, and we just put. Mark, would you put that in the oven? All right. So I'm gonna make a piece of decoration to go on. I took an old menu here and folded it like that.
And this decoration is sort of optional, but it certainly
It's optional,
adds to
yeah.
the end.
I like to do a little special decorations
Okay.
on my desserts because that's the last impression that people leave with when they come here to eat. So this here is going to be a chocolate butterfly. And it looks like it's difficult, but it's not that difficult.
And this chocolate is just a baking chocolate? Anything that you can
It's
get from the store?
it's a tempered chocolate. I put a little water in it,
Okay.
and that makes it harden up a lot quicker.
So that butterfly is going to come right off. And this is just parchment paper?
Yeah. All right. So we'll put it like here so it'll spread its wings like that. and I'll put that in the refrigerator.
Okay.
We made some whipped cream here, that regular whipped cream, heavy whipped cream. And this is the same technique we use for all 3 chocolates. And since we were constrained on time, we made the 2 other ones already, but this is the same technique for all of them. We have the chocolate melted here. This is a Belgian chocolate, Callebaut. You can use a Valrhona chocolate too. You can buy that in the international market. And very important, the chocolate has to be hot. The ball has to be hot. You cannot do it the other way. You can't put the chocolate in the whipped cream. Then it'll break. So you start out putting a little bit.
You just sort of
here.
are testing to see how much you really need here.
Well, this is, in order for it not to break, we have to like let the chocolate cool off real slow.
Okay.
And we stir it real good here the first time around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of Grand Marnier in the whipped cream. Like that. For the last of it. That orange flavor goes really well together.
And the other mousse we have is white chocolate, and what's the other one?
It's called a Gianduja. It's a hazelnut chocolate that you can get it in specialty stores again, and I get it. It's imported from Belgium. It's really, really flavorful. But you don't have to make 3 mousses. You can just make 1. You can also put them together and make it so it's like marbled. That would work very well too. Okay. So see, it has this very good texture here, and it's not heavy at all. There's no eggs in it. It's very light. This is the texture you want for that. And we'll decorate with a couple of strawberries, so we'll just. You can, there's different things you can do with the strawberries. You can cut them in halves, or some people like to fan them out. We'll just do 2 different kinds here, so. All right. Here's the white chocolate one, and here's the Gianduja.
So we have our wonderful basket coming out of the oven.
Yeah, all the mousses are ready. I'm going to put this away here. Mark is handing me the finished
See, this is
product.
amazing. It's amazing to me that that little hunk of dough comes out as this, fan-shaped creature.
And it looks really, like you say, it looks more elaborate than it really is. All right, so we got to wait until the right time here. We let it cool off a little bit. So we work it a little bit to take it off. It's important that there's a lot of grease on the pan in order to get it off here. If you take it when it's too hot, it's gonna break.
Yeah.
So we want to be a little patient. This is not something you want to do for a big dinner party, but if you have 6 to 8 friends coming over, it's not that difficult to do.
How long ahead of time could you make this?
You could make it like 4 or 5 hours ahead of time.
Okay. Anything after that, it's going to get.
Yeah. It'll be like gooey, a little bit gooey.
Okay.
So this is really good. Saving a little time, I made one already. This is how it looks when we turn it around.
It's amazing because it just hardens right up, and it's really going to hold that shape.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to see even though it's hot, it's already ready to go, right? Now I like to decorate the plates a little bit, so we're going to just take a plate and play with chocolate. Okay, and we're going to put a little chocolate in here in order for this one here to sit on the right way.
Kind of holds it in place.
Kind of holds it in place. We need some hot water here for the...
What's the hot water going to do?
The hot water will release the mousse from the spoon.
So you're not going to pipe it in, you're just going to...
Yeah, just going to scoop it in.
Wow.
That was the white chocolate.
This looks just amazingly decadent.
And then this is the hazelnut chocolate we are using. Okay. And then the last one we showed how to make, it's a bittersweet dark chocolate with Grand Marnier. Okay. And I think our butterfly is done too. It is. It'll come right off this parchment paper. We'll put that like that, and then can use our strawberries.
This looks amazing.
And then we'll use this fan one here. We'll put that down here on the plate.
Beautiful. A very elegant dessert, definitely. We have 3 mousse in a sugar basket. Beautiful. Tom's Place in DeSoto. Well, there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed watching these masterful chefs as much as I have. I encourage you to try some of their fine cuisine, either by visiting their wonderful restaurants or putting what you've learned to the test. Either way, bon appetit.